Come alive, two ex-players in the studio, ready to thrive, friends and fans, united with the truth, sharing the passion, yeah, that's our proof. Chasing the highlights, where dreams come alive, two ex-players in the studio, ready to thrive, friends and fans, united with the truth, sharing the passion, yeah, that's our proof. We treasure the legends, those who paved our way. In every single chapter, we're here to stay, breaking down plays.
Hello and good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Chasing the Highlights podcast, season 2 of the Chasing the Highlights podcast. Hey, my name's Lonnie Washington, and I've got my partner in crime here, Tony Robinson. He's in Texas, of course. I'm in hot Arizona. It's probably hot in Texas too. So we had a little bit of a break. We went off. We had a summer, and we kind of went off and did family things and things like that. But the sports world don't stop, right, Tony? And what we really wanted to do was take a break with the family and then get to this point in August, right? When training camps is here and everything like that. So Tony, first of all, how you been?
Been great. Dealing with, swim meets, kids, vacations and stuff like that. It was fun end of the summer to get ready for this time we're at right now. New business ventures and different things like that. So happy.
Always got something going on. I mean, we are busy. I got a senior. I got a senior in high school this year, so I'm got a lot to look forward to this year. Adulthood and senior year and all that stuff going on. So got a lot of family things going on. I hope you guys have had spent time with your families this summer, and now school has started here in Arizona for us. And I know, Tony, you're going to be probably starting within the next couple of days. So,
yep.
Bam. Here we are. But a lot of good things. Training camp has started. Just like I said, we're going to jump right into it. And me and Tony have been talking a little bit, this summer about things. And, it's one thing that I'm actually tired of talking about it, but it's not going away. So we got to cover it. And Tony, being the resident Cleveland Browns fan that he is, we always going to be talking about the Cleveland Browns this year because there's so much going on. They're like the new Dallas Cowboys of the AFC, if you know what I mean, when it comes to, just being in the news and, all the clickbait and all that stuff going on. But Tony, why are we still talking about Sanders and Watson, the quarterback battle and all that stuff there? And it still hasn't gone away even since last season. And I want to get your thoughts on, first of all, the battle that's going on right now and all the things that's kind of been going on during camp over the last couple of weeks. And also, who do you think is going to be starting the opening day for the Cleveland Browns?
Well, the main reason why we keep hearing about this, because it's like a soap opera for the social media. Like everything that we're putting out is like the beat writers from Cleveland is all talking about this and that, just causing divide. Because like I told you on the, our last season's podcast, we have a grass is always greener mentality when it comes to the quarterback position. So it's going to be a lot of eyeballs on anything we do with the quarterback position, because that's been our Achilles heel from getting over that hump to get better and stuff like that. And having a consistent playoff run every season. So because we don't have a solidified quarterback, we always struggle. So but the reason why this is going on is because you have a Watson making $40 million or whatever it is a year for this season or whatever, and you got the new regime coming in, the new coach, you got new quarterback, potential future starting quarterback in Shador, right? I'm going to delete all the stuff that I was talking about with Dylan Gabriel. We're not even talking about Dylan Gabriel. So
he's still on the team, though. He's still on the team.
Yeah, he's still on the team. But
you said he was going to be cut by this.
Well, still chances for a trade here.
Okay.
I digress. With this Watson Shador battle, I have Shador as a starter because up until a couple of days ago when he threw those 7 touchdown passes, but it was all red zone stuff, right? I mean, he did. That's still good. Seven touchdowns in the red zone. That's good because we want to score when we get to the red zone. So, but Shador is still leading in the quarterback battle, but they have them as 1A, 1B as of right now going into the preseason game against Chicago. So But they're going to make a decision. They have to make a decision soon who's going to start it,
Yeah.
but whoever starts doesn't really matter. They still have to go through those games to see who's going to beat each other out, because it's better when you go against other teams versus just going against each other, like the Browns that know how you play and stuff like that. So, and and the quarterback knowing how the defense is. So, I feel like Shador will start opening day when the season starts. That's what I think, because
in your heart, you want Shador to start, right? But
as a 46-year veteran Browns fan, seeing all the different scenarios that we've come up with and all the beat writers saying about every quarterback that we got in since Bernie Kosar, I want to see Shador. For me, is the future, because Watson has been in the fold for years, right? And we talked about this yesterday. He's been there, but he hasn't done what I thought he was going to do when he came over, because I was backing him the whole time when they brought him over. But he proved me wrong. He keeps proving me out. He keeps proving me wrong. So moving forward, it's like, okay, I understand that he's making a lot of money, and the ownership feels like they have to like play him. Or I think it's also because he's been helping out the team with their bring more people in with financial, restructuring his contract and different stuff like that, to make it, he's kind of like a part of the ownership, because he kept doing that over the years, stuff like that. So that's the only reason why I feel like they would start Watson, because he's been helping out the team with the contracts and, restructuring contracts and stuff like that, to open up money for other players and stuff like that, to make the team better. At that point, you're like almost like a partner for the Browns. Like, he has ownership, by doing those kind of deals for me.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally, that's what I think about when it comes to that, because the ownership is like, I want him to start. It's constantly all about Watson, but I feel like they don't want somebody getting, making $40 million a year sitting on the bench. If we're gonna pay you this money, you're gonna play. That's the caveat to that. So, what do you think about that?
Well, I got a lot to say. First of all,
I know you do.
I got a lot to say. We're still talking about this whole thing. You go and during the off season, of course, with you're letting Flacco go last year. Flacco played, he goes and he plays really, really well for the Bengals. You trade him to an in-season rival, and then Shador comes in. He does a pretty good job. I mean, he does a pretty good job. And when he came in, with the lack of reps that he got last season as a rookie, he came in and did a solid job. And then after the season, you fire your coach, and then you bring in Munkin, who was with Baltimore Ravens, and then I don't think Munkin was the preferred guy that Cleveland Browns wanted. I just think that all the good coaches didn't really want to go to Cleveland. And to be honest with you, I don't blame them, right? Because now you're going into an offseason where you still have Deshaun Watson on the team, right? You still got to deal with that issue with Watson on the team if you're a new coach. And then you got Shador Sanders there. So going into the season that you're not really going to have your guy that you get to actually bring in yourself in the draft, because you still got these two guys on the team. So if you're a new coach, that you are like really worth your salt, because it was 7 positions opening, and I think Cleveland was the last one to fill their spot. So Munkin comes out of the blue here, and of course, I thought the defensive coordinator that you guys had last year should have got the head coaching job, and I think you felt that way too, and a lot of Cleveland Browns fans felt that way. Munkin comes in, defensive coach was like, "Yo, I'm out. I'm out. I'm not staying around to work for a guy because I should have this job. I have a number one defense. I have a top 2 or 3 defense that I've built over here. And now you guys are going to skirt me to bring in another offensive guy in, where we've been holding down the fort for a few years now over here in Cleveland." Right. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing I want to set this up properly. Right. So so that's the first thing. Now we go into the offseason. Munkin's there, and then you go through the draft, which, by the way, I thought you guys had a great draft. I thought the Cleveland Browns, I thought, had one of the best drafts out of all the NFL teams.
The last 2 years.
Yeah, the last couple of years of what you did with picks and things of that nature. And then right before camp hits, you trade Myles Garrett for Jared Verse, and you turn the world upside down. All right. Then you get a number one pick. You get Verse, right? He's not a slouch. Okay. He's not a bum. He's a good player. But then, I mean, you trade your LeBron James out of Cleveland. And this guy, guess what? He's a first ballot Gary is a first ballot Hall of Fame, 23 plus sacks last year, and he's been all word for you guys, and y'all ship him out. Now I don't know, and I think he probably wanted out at this point because now your guy is gone. His defensive coach that he wanted to be the head coach is gone. You bring in a whole nother regime, and then he's going to have to deal with this same drama. So he says, I'm out. Good for him that he got traded to the Rams. Bad for the league that he got traded to the Rams. Okay. And now we come into this season, and then we hear Deion Sanders say, I didn't get a chance to talk to the old regime about my son. And Monken says, okay, we're going to invite you into camp. Okay. So now I think I said on the podcast last year that I don't think his daddy should be in camp and go see the coach and do this and that. Let him make his own way. Because to be honest with you, whether Deion came to camp or not, this is still going to be the quarterback battle. And Shedeur was handling himself without Deion coming to camp. And Monken was like, sure, come in. Let's have a conversation. So that finally happened too. Let's just put that to rest. A couple of weeks ago, Deion came in. He was like a legend. But it's kind of weird. It'd be kind of weird for me if my dad was talking to the guys on the sideline and I'm trying to get a starting job with the head coach. It's kind of like literally. It's kind of like, the high school coach talking to your father about you. This is the NFL. So nobody else's father actually talked to Monken but Deion. And I get it. I understand that. Now, let me put that on the shelf. I'm still setting this up. I'll let you respond, right? This is a conversation. And then we get into this quarterback battle. Okay. Now, I have already said to you at some point last year that the regime in Cleveland, they spent $260 million guaranteed, one of the worst contracts, I believe, in NFL history on a guy that's only played 19 games. He's torn his Achilles twice, but now he's healthy again. And to your point with what you said about he's been actually helping the team, restructuring his contract so they can make better deals, sign other players, and doing all those different things. He's been a great teammate. He helped Shedeur Sanders last year, even though he didn't play. He was a good guy in the quarterback room. Yeah. So now you got that thing there going. But the other thing is, so they've been kind of battling back and forth. And I'm kind of surprised that Shedeur has not won this job yet. Okay. I think he's the younger guy. He's probably a little bit better at this point in his career because Deshaun Watson, we haven't seen him in a long time, close to 2 seasons, right? So here it goes. All of a sudden, Monken gets into a press conference and says Shedeur's going to be out there taking reps with the ones. And then he goes out there, the press goes out there, and next thing you know, he's not. All of a sudden, Watson's taking 1 rep. So they say, oh, what's going on with this? This causes a whole stir. But then Monken gets into a press conference yesterday and says, this gets me. He says, well, something to the effect of, yeah, I told you guys he was going to start, but when I got out there, they told me, his staff told me that, well, we decided that, that we were going to let Watson take the number 1 reps. Well, he should have shut that down right away. It's like, I'm the head coach. Nothing moves without me. I just told the press that he was going to take number 1 reps and not come out here and it's the other way around. Change this. Don't do nothing without me. But I think that there's somebody up top pulling the puppet strings, okay? Maybe the owner, right, has them saying, Watson deserves a shot. He's helped this team. He's been a model citizen on this team since he's got here. And we might have said, hey, if you restructure your contract when you get healthy, we're going to give you a shot at the number 1 spot. And I think that there's Monken, because Monken is kind of being pulled in a couple of different directions here, I think. And so that's how I think it is. But overall, to be honest with you, I would rather for Watson to start the season, okay? Because I think you have to see what this guy has. Okay, he's the veteran. And if he's anywhere close to what he used to be, you've seen him every day in practice. You've seen him do all these different things. And if he can get you through for the first 4 or 5 games of the year and he looks really, really well, he can be used as trade bait at some point. Okay, maybe you can get a 4th or 5th round for him, right? Because right now you're not going to get anything for him. Okay, so I don't think he has a chance on being on this team, being Watson next season, unless for some reason he takes the Browns to a nice playoff run or something like that, which is possible. But I'm going to digress now. But that is kind of how I feel. But I think Shedeur Sanders, people want him to play. I want to see him play a full season so we know what we got in Shedeur Sanders. Period.
Well, the reason why, and this is coming from other Browns people that I follow and like all the stuff that I've been seeing, is like, okay, just like you said, Watson is not the future. He's probably not going to be here next year or whatever, right? So why would we keep giving him opportunity after opportunity when he showed us what he can do? I know it's a new quarterback, a new coaching scheme and everything, but when it comes down to it, I'd rather with a new coach, new scheme, put your guy out there that you want for the future, or give him an opportunity to be the future. All this talk about he's not ready, he's not ready. There's so many quarterbacks that started, like Mahomes. He set out one year, he started the next year and went off. Like there's a track record of guys that sat and watched and waited, then started, and then got an opportunity, then they take off. But the Browns have to get out of their own way. This is what we do every single time we get a good quarterback. It's always like this. I don't know what it is. It's like the beat writers in Cleveland. They find ways to like, mess it up. It's like they want somebody palatable to them on how they feel a quarterback should be. Because Deion Sanders' dad or whatever, because he showed up and all this stuff. It's like at the end of the day, it's like he's still going out there and earning it. But I feel like everybody's like, that's the beat writers and everything like that. The people that are against Shedeur and like don't like LeBron. I mean, I said LeBron. I'm thinking about LeBron now. don't like, because Deion Sanders is like a LeBron. It's equivalent, but when it comes to cornerbacks. But when people don't like him because of what he did back, 20 plus years ago, it's like, come on, man, like, why are you always coming after this young man that's putting in the work, showing you that he can play? And yeah, of course he's gonna have hitches in his game because he's only his second year. First year he didn't get a lot of playing, like a lot of reps with the ones and stuff like that. He was throwing passes to the ball boys and like the equipment guys and stuff like that. Like, what's going on here? Like when you follow the whole story, it's like, okay, this is his first year. Let's see what he got. It's just unfortunate that Watson has to be in this scenario with Shedeur because everybody is pulling for Shedeur. But Watson, because we're still living in what he used to be, I feel like that's why he keeps coming into the fold. And it's understandable because I want the best for Watson, no matter like what he went through and stuff like that. I feel like he can, it's a good redemption story. Like, everybody likes a good redemption story. So it's like when it comes to
who starts out of all the information that you've gotten so far, who do you believe starts day one and why? Who do you think is going to start?
I already said Shedeur, because Shedeur, like from now on, it's like we have to move forward. Like,
is that what you want, or is that what you believe they're going to do?
What I want as a 46-year veteran Browns fan, we need to move forward because it's just like this. It's always the elephant in the room with Watson. When it comes to like develop, we need to move forward. The reason I wanted to get to this because you talked about Monken is going to tie into everything. The reason why we brought the offensive coordinator in because our offense has been trashed the last 5 years when we had a great defense. So the reason why they went with an offensive coordinator as a head coach is because we needed better offense. And what Monken has done since his time at Georgia winning national championships was to help Lamar Jackson be top 3 in offense every single season. So that's the reason why we went offense. But yeah, I'm confident in what Monken's doing until he proves me wrong. Like, we have to, and I feel like he's a good coach that we need for our quarterbacks to develop them and stuff like that. Get them in a scheme that they can actually work to better themselves and make the team better. We never had somebody that can potentially develop quarterbacks. And is Monken that person? I hope so. We don't know yet. For people to say we don't know if he's ready, like you never know. Like, he got this is his first head coaching opportunity, I believe. I feel like he's the guy. That's what I feel.
I think personally that this was never really the Cleveland Browns' guy. I think that the ownership just had to grab somebody because all the guys were gone. They had to have somebody lead the team. Monken was that
But they
person
could have went
that
with the
was
defensive guy. They could have just stuck with the
they
defensive
should
guy.
have.
So
Matter
it's
of
not
fact,
it's not just
I
based
think
off
that
of
was
that.
their mistake. That was their mistake by not going with the guy that was already there, that had a top 5 defense already. Because defense wins a lot of games for you. Okay. And I understand the offense. They kept the Browns in a lot of games last year. The Browns was going toe to toe with a lot of teams last year because that defense was good, right? But they already had an offensive coach. They already had an offensive
But
coach
we
there for
still
5 or 6
have the
years in a row.
defensive pieces there that's gonna be able to do some things. We
Well,
have
you
a
have
new
a whole
team
new
coming
defense.
in.
You have a defensive court. You have a new defensive coordinator,
Yeah.
an offensive minded coach. Remember, Monken is an offensive coach. However, he has a whole team now to run. Okay,
Yeah.
he's not an offensive coordinator. He's now the head coach. He's got to run all the units pretty much. My point is that I think that Monken could be one and done. Okay, mark this right now. Monken could be one and done. Because I don't think he was Cleveland Browns' guy in the first place. He could be one and done. If the Cleveland Browns totally messed this up, he could be one and done.
This is coming from a Commanders fan.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. You got it.
He wants us to go bad.
Coming from a Commanders fan. He could be one and done this year if he doesn't get this team righted. And I think if you start and just how he's handling this quarterback thing and some of the things that he said, I think that he doesn't totally have full control of what is going to happen when it comes to who starts. And just that alone, I think, shows that the Haslam, the owner, still had his tentacles. It's just like Dan Snyder with the Redskins / Commanders.
Yeah.
It's only when the owner stays out of it is when the team starts to do better. But as long as that you have that owner from up top pulling the puppet strings down at the bottom, it's never going to work out. Jerry Jones is still the same thing. Dallas is 12-5, a couple of years in a row. They still never get deep into the playoffs. When you finally leave, when the ownership finally let the coaching and the management people do their job, that's when these teams thrive. Because you never hear about any other owners. With the teams that the Rams, do you hear about their owner in the mix doing anything? No, he has confidence.
Yeah, it's the elephant. It's still the elephant in the room of Watson. That's why I said if moving forward for the future, if he's out of the picture, I feel like we have no more quarterback controversies. That's the issue with because Watson.
Well, you drafted another quarterback. You got not only that, you got Dylan Gabriel still on the team that you drafted last year, and then you drafted a quarterback that is like a Lamar Jackson 2.0 potentially young guy.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point of me like saying why would they want to go with Watson again? Because you gave this dude all this money. And then you drafted his spot 3 times. 3 times. Not one, not 2, 3 times. So why would you go back to this guy? Why would you go back to Watson when you already got 3? We have 3 quarterbacks on the roster that you drafted.
Well, because the person making the decisions has got billions and billions of dollars, is saying that Watson, He showed us some good grace by letting us restructure his deal so we can sign some key players that we needed. Denzel Ward, if I'm not mistaken, just got a big contract this offseason. Am I correct? Absolutely, right? So now, that money doesn't come from out the thin air without Watson, being able to help out the team. So there's a lot going on here that I think that Monken can't control. And therefore, I'm not confident in Monken's ability to keep this team together the whole year. Keep this because if he makes the wrong decision at quarterback, it's going to cause a lot of dissension amongst the team internally. So that being said, we're going to move on because we have to.
August 11th. What's the day? We're going to mark this day.
August 11th. August 11th. 2026. Mark that. At first season 2 of episode 1 of the Chasing the Highlights podcast. Mark it.
We win the Super Bowl. We win the Super Bowl. I'm gonna air this.
I hope you got $100 on it. I hope you got $100 in Vegas because if they win the Super Bowl, my man, you're gonna have some serious cash coming your way because the odds of winning the Super Bowl is 0 this year. All right, 0. So yeah, we're gonna move on here. In other news, the Commanders lost their left tackle, Laramie Tunsil, with a torn triceps. That just changed the overall outlook for the team. I'm going to start here, and I think that it doesn't, although it was a big blow. I mean, he's one of the top 5 tackles in the league. Commanders just gave him $30+ million extension this offseason, and we thought that we had the blind, Jaden Daniels' blind side. protected for a long time. But of course, a torn triceps is a 4 to 6 month injury. That could be the whole NFL season, as far as we know. Or he could come back and heal very fast and come back in November. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I hear a lot of people thinking that this is gloom and doom for the Commanders, which I don't think it is, because Coleman, who was our starting left tackle as a rookie the year that we went to the NFC Championship, he played all 17 games and he did a pretty damn good job. It's just that when you have an opportunity to get a guy like Laremy Tunsil in a trade from to solidify that spot for a long time in a trade with the Houston Texans, you go do it. And that's what the Commanders did. He was pretty good last year, but Jaden Daniels still got hurt. So I want all the Commanders fans to do one thing for me. Pray for Laremy Tunsil, but understand that it's still 5 weeks before the season starts. All right. Coleman is going to go out there and do a really good job. He's still a young guy. He's going to go out there and do a really good job. And I think overall that they're going to be okay. All right. Now, under center, it all depends on Jaden Daniels. If Jaden Daniels plays all 17 games this year, I believe that we're 11-6 football team. All right. 10-7, 11-6 football team. But I think we get into the playoffs as a wild card. And there might be 3 teams in the play, at least 2 teams from the NFC East in the playoffs. Okay. So that's my point there. So Commanders fans, when you see this, okay, mark what I'm saying. We have Stephon Diggs now, okay, which I think he's a solid number 2 in DC, the way everything's constructed. And then you also have a guy that people forgot about, Treylon Burks. Okay, the wide receiver. Remember that guy who went first round pick, 15 or 16 or whatever it was in the draft, from not from the Texans, but from the Tennessee Titans. Okay, we got him. He, if he stays healthy, he's looked really good in camp. If he stays healthy, now you have 3 guys that can really, really, really play. And then our slot guys are going to be really good this year. And then if a healthy Jaden Daniels, look for our defense to be at least top 12 this year, top 10 this year. Our defense is going to be the key to the season, and we're going to be top 12 this year on defense. But it's not doom and gloom, although I do say it hurts to lose a guy like Laremy Tunsil because he does so much more than just play. He's your locker room leader. He's a veteran. He does everything. He gets everything. He's nasty. He's kind of like our replacement for Trent Williams that we've been trying to replace for 5 years, okay? He's kind of like that dude, right? So that's my point with the Commanders. But Jaden Daniels stays healthy. Look for the Commanders to be they have a tough schedule, okay? They open up with the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly, open up, and then Dallas on the road, second game, and then they got Seattle at home, the third game. I mean, they've got one of the top, the toughest early part of the schedule in all of the NFL. And from a 5-12 team, that is absolutely ridiculous that they got that crazy schedule. But, if they're thinking that Jaden Daniels is coming back healthy, we're going to give him a tougher schedule because we didn't believe in last year because y'all didn't have y'all quarterback. You guys are going to be that NFC title team again because our team is better, okay? And if Jaden Daniels stays healthy, we're going to be a better team. My point on that one.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, y'all picked up some great, not great, but y'all picked up some good pieces in free agency. Rashad White, Stephon Diggs on the offensive side, just solidifying, giving Jaden Daniels more target, more people to throw to and stuff like that. So
got that tight end from the Texans. I mean, the Titans. We got
Okonkwo. That dude is nasty. Like I had him in fantasy, and he can be really good for Jaden Daniels because you had the veteran that got hurt. Ertz. Yeah, he got hurt. But Okonkwo, he's like a receiver. He runs like a receiver. I sent you the video on that. He runs like a receiver. So it's like having another receiver on the field too. So he's fast and he's strong. So Krosky Merritt, with White in the backfield, and you got Jaden Daniels to run when he runs the ball, he has to get out of bounds and get down. No more of this breaking elbow. Like, I don't want to see that no more. He has to learn how to get down or get out of bounds.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that it's going to be a crazy year in the NFC East. It's going to be a lot of drama because you got Harbaugh now. He's with the Giants. Okay, he's going to create some kind of smash mouth football. You're not going to be able to go in the Meadowlands and beat them up like you used to because Harbaugh is going to have a certain type of way that he likes to play. And I think that the NFC East is just going to be just a better league, better overall this year. But it all depends on the health of the quarterback. All right. That's all. And with AJ Brown gone, I'm glad to see him gone to the Patriots. We don't have to deal with him this year. And then you've got some injuries for the Eagles on the other side there already starting to get some hamstrings, some growing injuries. Lemon is hurt. Smith is dealing
That's
with the hammy.
That's why I didn't want Lemon or Tyson, because they were injured in the season. So
injured already. Smaller guys. So you know what? We're gonna have our hands full in the NFC East, but I think that Laremy Tunsil out is a big deal. But let's get over it. Okay, let's get over it. We're moving on.
Next man up.
Next man up. Let's just do it. So I think I touched on this a little bit. Myles Garrett traded to the Rams this offseason. The Rams are early favorites to go to the Super Bowl in for the NFC, which is rightfully so, right? Yeah. Why did Cleveland do this? Why did Cleveland trade this guy here of all people?
Well, I mean, there's multiple speculation or whatever, but I feel like there's multiple things where he's going to be 30, or if he's 30, I think he's 30 right now, and they're just trying to probably just gift him under that money that they pay or have to pay him or whatever, to make more room for other defensive players on the defensive side, because once he left there, it opened up a bunch of money to give to the guys that are up and coming, safeties and linebackers that we were filling in holes that we had before. So we were able to keep all of our guys together. And that's the big piece that a lot of people don't realize is when you get rid of you're getting rid of the LeBron James of the defensive for the Cleveland Browns, but you're also getting a verse that's like a young Myles Garrett. So we kind of didn't lose. We gained a younger player for what Garrett, same thing that Garrett does, but it's not the same, because we know who Garrett is. We know 25 sacks, whatever it is. We know who he is. But when you can fill in pieces that we were having issues with, and we are able to keep guys and they didn't leave, that's where I look at it for the whole dynamic of the full defense being good. That's what I like to see. Mm-hmm. It's almost like the Ravens, how their defense is structured. Everybody on that Ravens defense is solid and know their job and does what they need to do. So the Browns is trying to emulate something in that same capacity of what the Ravens are doing, because they have to see them. So and I mean, we were able to sign our cornerback. Not a cornerback, is the lead guy on the defense with Verse, I guess you want to say. And I feel like we're still going to be top 5 because we had a new scheme coming out, 3 high safety, and you can't see where the rush is coming from. You'll see.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be top 5. You got a lot of changes. You got a different coach. You got chemistry is a big deal. The coach, this coach, your coach last year on defense had y'all dialed in. Yeah, y'all were dialed in. Y'all were you turn that damn dial because that thing was up to 100. He had y'all on all cylinders. They could talk about the Cleveland Browns, but nobody wanted to play that defense last year.
Well, it's because when you have Garrett sitting there that was the engine. Yeah, that was the person, but. That's one player. If you have every position dialed in with the new team and stuff like that, it's lights out. One player was the main engine because he was getting in, putting pressure on the quarterback every single time, almost every single time, 90% of the time. So that's where it started with Garrett. But when you have everybody doing the same thing, the whole defense, just like a Baltimore Raven defense, it's a totally different beast.
Yeah, so. But, you guys now. Now Aaron Donald is possibly coming out of retirement to go over there to join this Rams team, and Myles Garrett. Okay, they've always wanted to really play with each other. Now they get their wish. This team here, the Rams, are going to be very, very good. They've got the reigning MVP of the league, Matthew Stafford, over there. They went out and got Trent McDuffie in the corner on the back end there too. It's going to be crazy. One of the things that they could not do last year is stop anybody. Okay, they could score a lot of points, but Seattle, they giving up a lot of points to Seattle Seahawks. They had a problem on defense, And now they went out there and they got one of the best corners in the league. They got the best pass rush in the league. And now if Aaron Donald comes out of retirement, which I believe he will, okay, I'm about 90% sure on that. He comes out of retirement and anchors that middle of that defense. You got pressure up the middle, and then you've got Myles Garrett coming off the end. And then you've got McDuffie back there as a corner, who's a lockdown corner of anybody's number one. You still got Nakua on the other side that is still a dog. Now there was some talk about Puka Nakua possibly getting a 1-game suspension or some type of suspension for some things off the field. The Rams did not sign him to an extension this offseason. I think they wanted to kind of wait and see. I mean, he's probably one of the highest paid, potential wide receivers in all of football had he kept his nose. I want to say had he been better. I don't want to say nose clean. That's probably a bad term. But had he stayed out of trouble and not had the little shenanigans that he was getting himself to the off season, of course, going to therapy and doing all those different things, they want to see him one more season and before they give this guy, $36 million a year and all this guaranteed money, because he is probably one of the top 3 or 4 receivers in the league. Okay. If not 2 or 3 in the league.
If they don't pay him, somebody else will.
They will, but it all depends on. I mean, you got Pickens out there too, who's on a franchise tag in Dallas for another season too. So you don't, Puka Nakua, and you've got Pickens and things of that nature right there. So the Rams are going to be formidable, and the Commanders got to play the Rams this year. All right, but remember they got to come across the East Coast. They got to fly across to the East Coast, and usually teams in the West don't really do well when they come to the East Coast. But I digress on that one. But now you've got the Rams sitting there, and you've got the Seattle Seahawks sitting there in that division. It's totally wild. And then you got the San Francisco 49ers with all of their injuries. Pearsall is hurt over there in the West. A lot of guys on the team is hurt right now in San Fran. Maybe there's a little truth about the little power plant or whatever is going on over there, getting all these people injured over there in Santa Clara, because this is now the second year you've got a ton of injuries. And this comes after they did not have veteran minicamp. So they were like, you know what? Everybody showed up for the rookie minicamp and all that. We don't need to have our full minicamp. And they forewent that. And then you got Kyle Shanahan getting to the accident, in his Tesla, using the automatic pilot and whatever it is over there. It's just been a crazy scenario for the San Francisco 49ers, but they will still be in the mix because they have good coaching and they have depth on their team. They signed Deebo Samuel a week ago. He's back over there, which, is a good signing. He played for the Commanders. He's still hurt here and there, but we'll see how it happens. We see what happens with that too.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to go back to the Debo that they wanted him to be before he didn't take that contract, because he was like, I don't want to run the ball anymore. But I feel like he's going to come back for that 1-year contract to do what he used to do, and because I'm sure he wants another contract. So yeah,
he's too old to be taking that kind of beating anymore. He's not 24 years old. The guy's 31. He's too old to be taking that beating like a running back. And I just think that you should not use him as a Swiss Army knife anymore. Use him as a slot receiver. Do some reverses. Use some screens.
Well, that's what it is. The reverses. Yeah, I mean, that's
reverses and screens and stuff like that.
That's what he did before. Yeah.
Yeah. He shouldn't be getting the ball out of the backfield. That's McCaffrey's job. So moving on here. Can the Chiefs get back on top of the AFC West with Patrick Mahomes coming back from the ACL injury? And he got hurt in December, and he's coming back in record time. He's taking all the snaps. He's been in minicamp. He's doing all this. But you guys got to remember, these guys got the best rehab and training people in the world, okay? And Mahomes is no different. I mean, he's that guy. Surefire Hall of Famer right now if he doesn't play another snap. And he's coming back early. The only thing is that he's always played in every preseason game at some point to start the season. And if I was Andy Reid, I would not play him one bit in preseason at all. Now, that could be a little bit of a problem when you get that tough defense over there in Denver. The first game of the season, I think they opened up with Denver. Okay, and so you got that pass rush over there. And the first time he's ever going to be hit in the mouth is against that pass rush in Denver. So with the AFC being AFC West, with two teams making the Chargers made the playoffs last year, and then you have the Denver. I think they probably make the Super Bowl if if the quarterback don't get hurt in the AFC Championship game, it's going to be tough for the Chiefs to get back there again because Peyton now has had his fingers, his footprint on the Denver team for 3 years now. Okay, and so now he's got he is everything that they do is got Peyton's footprint on it, the coach's footprint on it. And remember, he's won a Super Bowl before with the Saints. So I think now it's going to be very, very crazy if you think that the Chiefs is just going to come back and knock everybody out the box over there. Mahomes coming back off the ACL injury. And yeah, they're going to be there in the mix. But if any team gets knocked out, it would be the Chargers. I don't see them beating the Denver Broncos. I think the Broncos wins this division. In the West, I think the Chiefs will be coming up the rear. The Chargers will be right there too. But I think if Mahomes is healthy, I think that they get they'll be vying for that second spot in the West over the Chargers. Even though the Chargers is going to be formidable this year too.
It's hard for me to go against that Mahomes boy. That Mahomes boy, he's rough. I mean, I know he has a knee injury, but the thing with him is that going into the season, he has to either throw the ball away or get down because he started running because he got faster and got the NFL
got bigger, stronger, faster.
Yeah, bigger, stronger, faster. So he started running the ball more, but then comes with that, you get those injuries from being a running back and stuff like that. So we drafted you. And we set you down first year, let you go off the second year because we wanted you to be a quarterback, right? That's what I kind of I want. If I'm paying somebody big money, I don't want you running the ball like that. Even though that's a part of his game now a little bit, but a lot of these quarterbacks getting hurt because of that.
Yeah.
Just like old boy in Denver, he broke his. Denver should have made it to they should have went further than that. I feel like they should have. But I think that Pat Mahomes, I think if he can get back to how we know he can be throwing the ball and stuff like that. Now he has his guys back. He has Rice back.
Yeah.
He has Kenneth Walker in the backfield, Super Bowl MVP.
That's going to help.
So having a true running game was the issue that they had because when they won those Super Bowls, they had a true running game where it wasn't just constantly passing and stuff like that. And the defense knowing what you're going to do, they just go back into a zone or whatever. Right. So I feel like with Rashee Rice back, be on the lookout for the Chiefs because I feel like they can potentially knock out Denver, maybe not the first game, but when it comes to the playoffs, if they match up, I feel like, the Chiefs can be coming back, I don't want to say Kelsey because he came into to training camp overweight, so I don't know if he's gonna lose all that wedding weight. So, but still with Kelsey, once he gets, I'm sure he's burning fat right now. Fast, whatever he needs to do to lose that weight. We know who Kelsey is. Can he be
focused though? That's the question. Can he be focused on what he got to do?
With Mahomes, we know who Kelsey is. Kelsey is a dog too. We just don't know. He's 35. Is he 35 now or something like that?
Yeah.
He's old. He's a little longer in the tooth now, but he still can do his thing, So you got to watch out for those guys, with Mahomes. I think Mahomes got a way to come back. So he's going to come back really good, strong.
So you think they're going to be back on top again?
They're not going to beat they're not going to beat the Cleveland Browns though. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, man.
I got to put that out there. I got to stick.
So Bo Nix, I think, third year in the system. You saw Drew Brees go into the Hall of Fame, and Peyton was his coach. Yep. And I think Bo Nix is the new Drew Brees, right? I mean, and that's saying a lot. I don't make that statement, like I did, but he looks like Drew Brees out there when he's playing for the Broncos under Peyton's tutelage.
Well, he let me down because I had him in fantasy last year. We talked about this last year when he couldn't beat the Jets. They lost to the Jets by, it was 13, whatever the score was.
That was bad.
He needs to, if he can take that next step, I feel like this is the year that he's going to take that next step because he has the running capability, but with that injury, you got to, get down, throw the ball away, whatever. But I feel like this is his year to take off.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
All right. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. So the AFC North got three new coaches, except for the Bengals. Who wins this division? Baltimore got Jesse Minter over there, the former LA Chargers defensive coordinator. He replaces Harbaugh. The Cleveland Browns got Todd Monken, the former offensive coordinator from, they played kind of, musical chairs with that one there. But Mike McCarthy comes back after sitting out for a year, and taking the Dallas Cowboys the back-to-back 12-5 seasons. Dallas fired him. He sits out a year, and Mike Tomlin kind of like says, "Hey, see you later." He goes and works for NBC, and then now you got Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh. He calls up Aaron Rodgers and says, "Hey, Aaron, you want to run it back? You want to rekindle the stuff we had going on 10 years ago, and in Green Bay?" And Aaron Rodgers is like, "Yeah, think about it a little bit." Talk to his wife a little bit. Aaron Rodgers kind of rekindles, things with his family, reconnects with his mother and father and people in his family that he's kind of been, at odds with for the last 10 years or whatever. And now Aaron Rodgers comes back, at 42, 43 years old, and he rekindles with Mike McCarthy in that division. And so now you say to yourself, well, let's look around. Everybody's got new coaches, but the Cincinnati Bengals don't have new coaches. All right. Cincinnati Bengals got Dexter Lawrence in the trade from the New York Giants. He's going to anchor that defense. They're going to be better overall, if Joe Burrow stays healthy. So my point is that I think the Bengals might win this division. And if Joe Burrow, with quotation marks again, if Joe Burrow stays healthy, that's what'll happen. Do you have an objection to that? Because I know you want the Cleveland Browns to do something, but I'm not quite sure they're ready for that on the Todd Monken yet to win the division.
I'm going to be very what is it called? I'm going to be very neutral here, because I am a Cleveland Browns fan. Really? I'm be very neutral and be realistic. I still see, from looking at everything, because we see them twice a year, each team. So going off of what I see as of right now, the Ravens are at the top, right? Even though they had a coaching change, they still have Lamar Jackson. They have the defense. They have whatever they have, right? Number two, in the 2 spot, I'm going to say right now as the Steelers, right? Because you got McCarthy, a Super Bowl winning coach.
Defense is still good.
You got, new players coming in like Rico Dowdle, running back. They're about to get Rico Dowdle for running back help. They already have Jalen Warren already. They got Michael Pittman over from Indianapolis Colts. So they got some more receiver help to help with DK Metcalf.
I forgot about that one. That's a good one. I forgot about that one.
So when I look at that worries me with a healthy Aaron Rodgers that can still sling that ball better than
He didn't play bad last year. I
feel like he was slinging the ball better than Tom Brady did in his career. I feel like that's what Aaron Rodgers is doing right now.
He'd have more zip.
He still has more snap than right now. But so that's my second place, and it's gonna come down to us in Cincinnati for that 3rd spot. But I still feel like we're over Cincinnati because of their defense. We don't know how their defense is going to be. Yeah, they brought in Dexter Lawrence. They brought in a solidified anchor in the middle to stop the run. But their passing game is their passing defense is bad. I don't know if
you think the Browns gonna be 3rd?
Hold on, let me finish. But the offensive line is going to be the issue. So if they can't keep Joe Burrow upright, it's going to be over. The same with us. We got to keep whatever quarterback is going to start. That's why it's hard to tell, because we don't know what quarterback is starting for the Browns. So everybody, and we don't know what we have with Shedeur yet when it comes to this year. But it's between. I feel like we're gonna be the leaders of the division. That's just my optimism in me. But
that's the fan in you.
Yes, the fan in me. So realistically, I have Baltimore.
That's not podcast Tony. That's fan Tony.
That's fan Tony. But realistic Tony, like right now where we are is Baltimore, Steelers, in between. It's a wash at the third and fourth spot.
Wow,
So,
that's a heavy take right there. If you think
but I mean,
that the Bengals don't even have a chance to be.
If Joe Burrow is healthy, watch out for that guy because he's a guy that he's Joe Cool for a reason. That guy is nasty.
You got him in fourth place right now. You ain't giving him no
they can't
love.
keep him up. They can't keep him healthy in the season. And the defense is always struggling. So hopefully
shoot, Joe Flacco. They just called Joe Flacco out of retirement, and he comes in and slings for 400 yards. Yeah. And with those receivers, they can plug and play pretty much almost anybody.
But over time, after that game he had, how Joe Flacco did that game, he kind of got knocked out because the offensive line was trash. So they end up getting to him too. So
I get it. Okay, so we had breaking news earlier today. Kyler Murray in Minnesota was just named the starter. Can he win a division? And there's probably should be a question mark behind that. But I've seen Kyler Murray for many years when he was here in Arizona, down at the stadium down there. And Kyler Murray has always actually been a really good player. It's just the team that they've had around him really wasn't that good. But if you give Kyler Murray time to throw the ball and some weapons, he's gonna hurt you. And he's got a lot of weapons over there. All right. He's a lot of weapons over there. And then you've got the quarterback whisperer over there, McConnell, over there pulling the strings now. The question is can he make Kyler Murray one of the most sought after quarterbacks in free agency next year? And he's had success in doing that. When you look at Darnold and everything like that, and what he was able to do 14-2 with a guy that they thought was washed up. And all of a sudden you got Kyler Murray coming in, and McCarthy can't even beat out Kyler Murray. And I think that they're still scratching their head as to why we got this guy from Michigan that can play, but he can't beat out Kyler Murray, because people got to understand Kyler Murray is a good player. He adds a whole new dynamic to your football team with him being able to scramble, and he should do less of that, but he still can get out of harm's way. He might be only 5'10". Some say he's 5'11". I think he's 5'9", to be honest with you. But if he can throw the ball on time to Jefferson, to Addison, and Hawkinson, and those weapons he got out there, and they can design a game plan for him, he's going to be under center a lot more, play action pass, and if he can get that down, it's going to be hard. Minnesota's going to be back in the hunt because that defense is still good. That defense last year was really, really good towards the end of the second half of the season, and I think that's going to be the key for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think Kyler Murray is still a great quarterback. He just has to put the negative things that
the
were
video
said
game talk. I don't put the time in and all that kind of stuff.
We got to get the negative stuff that was said about him not doing film study and different things like that. But he's with the quarterback whisperer, like you said. I feel like once he gets with a coach that can actually develop him, the sky's the limit for him, because he has so many different traits that a defense can't really hone in on, because he can run, he can throw the deep ball, he can, maybe you can say he can't see over the line because he's short or whatever, but he find ways to get the ball out there and get, make plays and stuff like that.
He moves just enough just to find the lane.
Yeah, with that defense is still like that coach. What's his name? The defensive coordinator there. He always, he always makes it so the the defenses are in the right places, so they're not going to give up like more than 14 points a game, all the time. So I feel like they have a shot to win the division and like potentially go deep in the playoffs. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, but make sure they stay healthy and stuff like that. But with Kyler Murray, he can be that guy. But they also have a guy that you didn't say, Jawan Jennings from the 49ers. He actually had a breakout year last year with the 49ers when they had.
I didn't even realize they had him.
And he was the guy. So they have three receivers they can throw to now with Hawkinson, and I didn't know they still had Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, they let him go over there. I guess he came back. So, and Mason, they have Mason and Aaron Jones as the two-headed monster or whatever. So they looking deep right now.
Yeah, we'll see. That division is going to be interesting. we're going to see how the Chicago Bears, of course, they took that division last year, surprised a lot of people. And, I don't think you can discount Chicago either in that division either. So, we're going to wrap up with some LeBron James talk. Okay. LeBron James broke the Cleveland Browns fans' hearts by going to the 76ers. And last time that we talked, I think on the podcast, we were talking about, where does he go and things of that nature. And he actually decided that he wanted to go to the 76ers, and he did. And I am glad that he did go to the 76ers, because when you start thinking about him going back to Cleveland again, and he didn't have anything else to prove to Cleveland. He already won you a championship. He wanted to move on. But like I said, the biggest thing that I think why he went to the 76ers is his career after basketball. Okay. Ownership and everything is probably going to offer him something to do after his career with the best. That ownership group, they own the Commanders, they own the 76ers, they also own the New Jersey Devils. And so I think he saw, and especially Magic Johnson is a part of the Commanders ownership group too. So you got a basketball player in Magic Johnson who owns a part of the team. And then of course Magic Johnson owns the Dodgers. So I think LeBron James want to have some piece of something in ownership after his career is over. And I think the best chance to do that is going to the 76ers and being a part of that ownership group after he retires. But this team is going to be crazy. I think the Christmas schedule came out. I think they opened the game in at the Knicks. I think they play the Garden. Opening night is going to be 76ers at the Madison Square Garden with the Knicks, with the rings and everything that the 76ers are going to, the Knicks are going to have. It's ring night. So LeBron James is going to be sitting out there looking at all that going on. And hopefully that fuels the 76ers to want to be there this year.
I think there's a big piece that a lot of people aren't realizing that's happening. That happened here too. It does have something to do with what you're talking about. Probably 80 to 90% of it was that, right? But then you look at this guy that they brought in, Mike Gansey, the new GM, whatever. Mm-hmm. He was, I think he was runner up to the LeBron and Mr. Basketball in Ohio. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they have that connection. So LeBron James beat him out because he's LeBron James. So LeBron James. But I feel like like I was for a split second, because it almost felt like the Miami decision. I was mad for like maybe 3 minutes. I got it out and I was like, I understand the business because I try to go pro and stuff like that and whatever. But when it comes to like players being free agents, you always want your favorite players to come to your team, and stuff like that. But wherever LeBron went, I followed him. I mean, if he went to the Lakers, I was a kind of a pseudo Laker fan and stuff like that. So wherever he goes, I'm gonna be a fan. But I was kind of pissed, like briefly, because I thought he was coming to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but there's some different things as the reason why he didn't come, and maybe it was because of Harden, maybe because of the trade of Darius Garland and whatever. So it's a lot of speculation out there, but I'm happy that he's with the Sixers because at this point, like I said on the last podcast from last year when that happened, when we were talking about it, I feel like he, at this point of his career, if you're not trying to win, if you're not looking to win, it's like, what's the point? Like playing this long, like it's like you're not going to go to a team that's not going to help you win or contend to win. So when people say he's ring chasing and stuff like that, he has to, if he's going to play, it's all about winning at this point. Like, why would you play 20 something years and not try to win? Like, so, and I'm not the only one saying this. A lot of ex-NBA players saying that, like people that are saying he's ring chasing. It's like, what's the point in playing that? You're trying to win. You're not playing. He's not going to go to like what's the worst team right now? Like he's not going to go to the worst team and just play, whatever.
You can't say the Wizards. You can't say the Wizards.
Well, we can't say Wizards anymore.
Because I know you want to say the Wizards, but you thought about it for a quick second. It's like, they're not going to be that bad this year. So I know.
I was thinking about it, but I was like, I can't say that.
I know you can say that now. You was like, why would he go to Wizards? He probably, I put it out there that he should have went to the Wizards because
Yeah,
Anthony Davis and that team over there, that instantly puts them in the playoffs if he goes to the Wizards. Even
Yeah.
LeBron James at 41, 42.
Yeah, I mean, but like we talked about and you said too, I feel like he doesn't want to have to do too much work.
Right.
And with the 76ers, he would have to do a lot. He played 20, 25 minutes a game, if that, if he needs to, whatever. But when it comes to the playoffs, what he's going to do what he do, right? But during the season, 40 to 50 games and just play 25 minutes to 30 minutes cap. And that's it. You don't need to play.
If he can get Embiid to change his diet, lose some weight, trim down a little bit, and teach him how, hey, this is what you got to do if you want a long career, and he can cut down on some of them injuries. If LeBron James can have that influence on Embiid, because Jaylen Brown, you ain't got to motivate that guy. Yeah. That guy's got an axe to grind. When you got your team, the Celtics throwing him to a rival across town to Philly. Like just throw him out like yesterday's trash.
Yeah,
he's got an axe to grind, and then you team him up with LeBron James and that group.
Well, just look what Tim Duncan did. Tim Duncan was a little heavier, and then he lost a lot of weight, and then extended his career. So if you can do it, if Embiid can do the same thing, then it could be like he can have at least 10 years. But I just don't. I just didn't when before LeBron went there, I was worried about him going there because of Embiid's work ethic. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, but it's like it just doesn't seem like he has the work ethic to take care of his body as a professional. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that makes sense, because it just doesn't. I don't know, but hopefully LeBron can fix what that issue is or whatever with him, and playing with the potential I guess top 5 GOAT of all time, whatever you want to call it, and LeBron James, maybe that motivates him to get better.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see when the NBA starts up and you got the NFL season going and everything like that. All the storylines are going to be there, and we're going to have it all. We're going to talk about all that, and because we ended the season with basketball, but we're going to probably have to ramp up a little basketball stuff, during the NFL with all the storylines going on in the NBA. So. Hey, we're in it. Season 2 of the Taste from the Highlight podcast. This is going to conclude our podcast today. I'm Lonnie Washington, Tony Robinson there. We're going to see you guys next week. Have a good week.
Come alive, 2 ex-players in the studio, ready to thrive. Friends and fans, united with the truth, sharing the passion, yeah, that's our proof. Chasing the highlights, where dreams come alive. 2 ex-players in the studio, ready to thrive. Friends and fans, united with the truth, sharing the passion, yeah, that's our proof. We treasure the legends, those who paved our way.